Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're diving into a topic that's both exciting and challenging: how to speak advanced English. If you've been feeling stuck at an intermediate level and are ready to take your English skills to the next level, you're in the right place.
That's right, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm Julia, your co-host. Learning to speak advanced English can feel overwhelming, but it's absolutely achievable with the right strategies and mindset. In today's episode, we'll share practical tips, common pitfalls to avoid, and some fun ways to boost your fluency. By the end of this conversation, you'll have clear steps to level up your English skills.
Absolutely. And speaking advanced English isn't just about using big words or complicated grammar. It's about communicating with confidence, precision, and nuance. So, whether you're preparing for a job interview, studying abroad, or simply aiming to express yourself more effectively, this episode has something for you.
Exactly. So grab a notebook or just sit back and relax as we guide you through the best tips to master advanced English. Let's get started.
So, Julia, I've been thinking about this lately. When I first started learning a new language, I remember feeling pretty confident at the beginner and intermediate levels. But when I tried to have deeper conversations or sound more natural, I hit a wall. Have you ever experienced something similar?
Oh, absolutely, Jason. I remember when I was learning French. At first, it was all about simple phrases and basic conversations, but once I needed to express myself in a more sophisticated way, like sharing opinions or discussing abstract topics, it became so challenging. It felt like I knew what I wanted to say, but just didn't have the words or tools to say it fluently.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of English learners get stuck too. They know the basics, but struggle to sound polished or natural when speaking advanced English. It's almost like they've reached a plateau, and they're not sure how to break through.
Yes, and that plateau can be really frustrating. I've noticed that many learners at this stage still rely on the same basic vocabulary and grammar structures they learned at the start. They haven't explored the more nuanced aspects of the language, like idioms, expressions, or even cultural references, which can really help them sound more advanced.
Exactly, Julia. And sometimes it's not just about the language itself. It's about confidence, too. Learners might hesitate to use new words or try advanced expressions because they're afraid of making mistakes or sounding awkward.
That's so true. But here's the thing. Mistakes are part of the process. If you're not making mistakes, you're not growing. And today, we're going to help our listeners move past that fear and give them practical tips to sound more advanced in English without feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely. So, let's dive into the real meat of today's episode: the best tips to speak advanced English. Trust me, these tips are going to change the game for a lot of listeners. All right, let's get to the heart of today's episode: our top tips for speaking advanced English. We've broken this down into practical, easy-to-follow strategies that you can start using today. Julia, what's the first tip on our list?
Tip number 1, expand your vocabulary. This means going beyond basic words and learning advanced expressions, idioms, and phrasal verbs. For example, instead of saying "I'm very tired," you could say "I'm completely exhausted" or "I'm drained." These subtle changes make your English sound more polished and natural.
Absolutely. And one great way to do this is by reading widely: novels, newspapers, or even professional blogs. Pay attention to how words are used in different contexts. Oh, and don't forget to jot down new words and practice using them in sentences. Julia, how about tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is mastering pronunciation and intonation. It's not just about the words you use, but how you say them. Advanced speakers often use stress and intonation to emphasize certain points, making their speech more engaging. For example, listen to how native speakers change their tone when asking questions or showing excitement.
Great point, Julia. A good way to practice this is by shadowing, listening to native speakers in podcasts, movies, or YouTube videos, and then repeating what they say, mimicking their tone and rhythm. It's like singing along to your favorite song, but with spoken English.
Exactly. Now on to tip number 3. Using advanced grammar naturally. This is where a lot of learners get intimidated, but it doesn't have to be complicated. For instance, instead of always saying, "I will do this," try mixing in different tenses, like, "I'm going to do this," or "I would have done this if..." It shows flexibility in your language skills.
That's a game changer, Julia. And to practice this, I recommend writing short stories or journal entries and intentionally using different tenses and sentence structures. It's a fun way to challenge yourself. Now, what's tip number 4?
Tip number 4 is improving your active listening skills. Listening is key to understanding advanced English, especially when native speakers use slang, contractions, or fast speech. Try listening to podcasts or audiobooks and focus on how words are connected or shortened in conversations.
Right? And don't just passively listen. Pause the audio, repeat sentences, and try to guess the meaning of new phrases from the context. This habit will help you catch nuances and learn how to use those phrases in your own speech. Finally, Julia,
Number 5.
what's our fifth
Immerse
and
yourself
final
in
tip?
English environments. This doesn't mean you have to move to an English-speaking country, but surround yourself with English as much as possible. Watch movies without subtitles, think in English, and even change your phone settings to English.
That's such a great tip, Julia. Immersion forces you to interact with the language naturally, which is the best way to grow. And don't forget to practice speaking, even if it's just talking to yourself or recording your voice. It helps you get comfortable with using the language in real time.
Exactly, Jason. It's all about making English a part of your daily life. Even small changes can make a big difference over time.
All right, so to recap, our 5 tips are: expand your vocabulary, master pronunciation and intonation, use advanced grammar naturally, improve your active listening skills, and immerse yourself in English environments. Trust us, these strategies work.
Yes, and remember, speaking advanced English isn't just about the language, it's about confidence and practice. Keep pushing yourself, and you'll see progress faster than you expect.
All right, Julia, now that we've shared our tips for speaking advanced English, let's make this a little more personal. I want to ask you, what's your favorite method to improve your English, especially at an advanced level?
Great question, Jason. For me, I absolutely love shadowing. I find a podcast, movie, or even a TED Talk, and I listen carefully to the speaker. Then I pause and repeat exactly what they said, mimicking their tone, pace, and even their accent. It helps me sound more natural and confident. How about you?
Shadowing is such a great method, Julia. For me, I love reading novels or articles on topics that interest me. When I come across advanced words or phrases, I write them down and try to use them in conversations later. It's such a simple habit, but it's helped me expand my vocabulary and use it naturally.
That's awesome, Jason. Speaking of vocabulary, let's try something fun with our listeners right now. How about we share a couple of advanced phrases and challenge them to use these in their own conversations?
Great idea. All right, here's one. Go the extra mile. It means putting in extra effort to do something exceptionally well. For example, if you want to succeed in your career, you need to go the extra mile. Julia, do you have another one?
Yes, I do. Here's one, a blessing in disguise. It means something that seems bad at first, but turns out to be good. For example, losing that job was a blessing in disguise because it led me to an even better opportunity.
Those are great phrases, Julia. All right, listeners, your challenge is to use go the extra mile or a blessing in disguise in a sentence and share it with us in the comments. We'd love to see how you use them.
Yes, and if you're feeling creative, try using both phrases in the same sentence for an extra challenge. For example, losing that project was a blessing in disguise because it pushed me to go the extra mile on a better opportunity. What do you think, Jason?
Perfect, Julia. This exercise is a fun way to practice and learn new phrases. Remember, the more you use advanced expressions like these, the more natural they'll become in your conversations.
Exactly, and we'd love to hear your favorite advanced words or phrases too. Share them in the comments or message us directly. Let's keep this conversation going.
Now that we've shared some tips and had a fun, interactive segment, let's talk about something just as important: common mistakes to avoid when trying to speak advanced English. Julia, what's a mistake you often see learners making?
One big mistake is focusing too much on using complicated vocabulary without understanding its proper context. For example, learners might try to use an advanced word like conundrum, but end up using it in a situation where it doesn't fit. It's always better to use simpler words correctly than to misuse advanced ones.
That's a great point, Julia. Another mistake I've noticed is neglecting pronunciation. Even if you know advanced vocabulary, unclear pronunciation can make it hard for others to understand you. Practicing how to say words correctly is just as important as learning what they mean.
Absolutely, Jason. And another common mistake is overusing filler words like, like, or, especially when trying to sound more natural. These fillers can disrupt your flow and make you seem less confident. Instead, take a brief pause if you need time to think.
Yes, pauses are powerful. One last mistake I often see is being afraid to make mistakes. Many learners hesitate to speak at all because they're worried about sounding awkward or using the wrong word. But mistakes are a natural part of the learning process, and they're how you improve.
Exactly, Jason. Remember, even native speakers make mistakes. The key is to learn from them and keep going. If you embrace your mistakes, you'll feel more confident and progress faster.
That's such great advice, Julia. So to recap, avoid misusing advanced words, pay attention to pronunciation, minimize filler words, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. These small adjustments can make a big difference in your journey to speaking advanced English.
Absolutely. And remember, it's all about progress, not perfection. Keep practicing and refining your skills and you'll get there.
All right. Before we wrap up, let's summarize today's key points into actionable takeaways that our listeners can start applying right away. Julia, what's the first one?
Sure. Takeaway number 1, focus on expanding your vocabulary with advanced words, phrases, and idioms. But remember to use them in the right context to sound natural and polished.
That's a solid start. Takeaway number 2, practice pronunciation and intonation by shadowing native speakers. Mimic their tone, rhythm, and stress to improve your fluency and sound more natural.
Absolutely. And takeaway number 3, improve your active listening skills. Listen to podcasts, movies, or audiobooks, and pay attention to how words are connected and used in real-life contexts.
Good one, Julia. Takeaway number 4, use advanced grammar flexibly. Try practicing different tenses and sentence structures to make your speech dynamic and interesting.
Lastly, takeaway number 5. Immerse yourself in English as much as possible. Surround yourself with English through reading, writing, thinking, and even changing your phone's language settings.
Perfect. These 5 takeaways will help you build advanced English skills step by step. And remember, it's all about consistent practice and patience.
Yes, and don't forget to have fun with it. Enjoy the process and celebrate your progress no matter how small it seems.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you found these tips and insights helpful for speaking advanced English confidently and naturally.
Yes, and remember, improving your English is a journey. It's okay to take small steps and enjoy the progress you make along the way. Every bit of practice brings you closer to your goal.
If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more tips and lessons like this. Your support helps us reach and help more learners just like you.
Also, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, questions, or even your favorite advanced English phrases in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going.
And if you want to practice further, check out our other episodes and playlists for more lessons on vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Keep practicing, stay confident, and most importantly, have fun while learning.
Take care, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode of the English Learning Podcast. Bye for now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and today we're diving into a fascinating and often overlooked topic that can transform the way you communicate in English. It's all about body language, how you move, gesture, and express yourself without saying a word.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia, your co-host, and I couldn't agree more, Jason. Body language is such an important part of communication, and for English learners, it can make a huge difference in how confident and clear you come across. Sometimes, even if your words aren't perfect, your body language can help convey exactly what you mean.
Exactly, Julia. Research shows that a significant part of communication is nonverbal. Some even say it's over 70%. That's why mastering body language isn't just for actors or public speakers. It's for anyone who wants to connect and communicate effectively.
And what's great is that you don't need to be fluent in English to start using positive body language. It's something you can practice and improve alongside your language skills. Plus, it helps you feel more confident when speaking, which we know is a big challenge for many learners.
In today's episode, we'll cover everything from what body language is to common mistakes English learners make, and we'll give you practical tips to improve your body language and boost your communication skills.
That's right. By the end of this episode, you'll have a whole new set of tools to express yourself and connect with others in English. Not just with words, but with how you present yourself.
So, let's get started. First, let's talk about what body language actually is and why it's such an important part of communication. All right, let's start with the basics. So, what is body language? Essentially, body language is the way we communicate without words. It includes gestures, facial expressions, posture, eye contact, and even how we move or position ourselves when we're talking.
Exactly, Jason. It's like the silent partner in every conversation. Even when you're not saying anything, your body is still talking. For example, a simple smile can show friendliness, while crossing your arms might make you look defensive or closed off.
That's a great point, Julia. And here's something interesting. Body language can actually change how people perceive your message. Imagine you're telling someone you're happy, but your face looks serious and your arms are crossed. Your body language is sending a completely different message from your words.
Right. That's why it's so important for English learners to understand this. If your body language matches your words, you'll seem more confident and believable. On the other hand, if your body language is off, people might get confused or even misunderstand you.
And body language isn't just about how others see you, it's also about how you feel. For example, standing up straight and making eye contact can actually make you feel more confident, even if you're nervous. It's like a little confidence hack.
Absolutely. And body language varies a lot depending on culture, which makes it even more interesting. In some cultures, direct eye contact is a sign of confidence, but in others, it might be seen as rude. For English learners, understanding these differences can help you adapt and communicate more effectively.
Great point, Julia. For instance, in English-speaking countries, things like a firm handshake or maintaining eye contact during a conversation are often seen as signs of confidence and respect. But for someone from a different background, these might feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable at first.
That's true, Jason. And here's the good news. Improving your body language is something you can practice, just like learning new English words or grammar rules. Once you're aware of how body language works, you can start using it to your advantage.
Exactly. And this is what makes body language such an important part of learning English. It helps bridge the gap between the words you're learning and the message you're trying to convey.
So, to sum it up, body language is all about using your face, hands, and movements to communicate effectively. When you combine good body language with your English skills, you'll feel more confident, and people will understand you better.
All right. Now that we know what body language is, let's talk about some common mistakes English learners make and how to avoid them. Now that we've covered what body language is, let's dive into some common mistakes English learners make when it comes to body language. Julia, why don't you start us off?
Sure, Jason. One of the most common mistakes I've noticed is avoiding eye contact. Many learners feel nervous when speaking English, so they tend to look down or away when talking. But in many English-speaking cultures, avoiding eye contact can make you seem unsure or even uninterested.
That's so true, Julia. Eye contact is like a silent way of saying, I'm confident and engaged. But I understand it can feel intimidating. What's a simple tip for improving this?
Start small. If direct eye contact feels too intense, try looking between the person's eyes or at their eyebrows. It gives the same impression without feeling overwhelming.
Great advice. Another common mistake is fidgeting too much. When learners are nervous, they might tap their fingers, play with their hair, or shift their weight from one foot to the other. These small actions can make you look distracted or anxious.
Exactly, Jason. Instead of fidgeting, try keeping your hands steady or using them for purposeful gestures. For example, using open hand movements can make you seem more approachable and confident.
Speaking of hand gestures, here's another mistake: overusing or misusing gestures. Some learners use big, dramatic gestures for every word, which can be distracting. Others might use gestures that are normal in their culture, but have a completely different meaning in English-speaking cultures.
Right. For instance, a thumbs up might mean something positive in one culture, but it could be offensive in another. The key is to use gestures naturally and in moderation, just enough to emphasize your words without overdoing it.
Good point, Julia. Another mistake I've seen is poor posture. Slouching or hunching over can make you look uninterested or lacking confidence, even if you're saying something important.
Yes, posture is so important. Standing or sitting up straight not only makes you look more confident, but it also helps your voice sound clearer and stronger. Plus, it shows that you're taking the conversation seriously.
Another big one is smiling too little or too much. Smiling is a universal way to show friendliness, but some learners either forget to smile because they're too focused on their words, or they smile constantly, which can seem unnatural.
That's true, Jason. A good rule of thumb is to smile when you're greeting someone, when you're listening, and when the situation calls for it. But don't force it. Let it come naturally.
Here's a subtle mistake that often goes unnoticed: standing too close or too far away. In English-speaking countries, there's usually a comfortable space between people during a conversation. Standing too close can feel invasive, while standing too far away can seem distant or disinterested.
Absolutely. A good guideline is to keep about an arm's length between you and the person you're speaking to. If you're not sure, just observe how others do it and follow their lead.
Another mistake learners make is not matching their facial expressions to their words. For example, saying, "I'm so happy to meet you," with a blank face can send mixed signals.
Yes, Jason. Your facial expressions should match the emotion behind your words. If you're excited, let your face show it. Practice in front of a mirror if it doesn't feel natural at first.
Finally, let's talk about crossed arms. This one is tricky because crossing your arms might just feel comfortable, but it can make you seem closed off or defensive in many cultures.
That's true. Instead, try keeping your arms relaxed at your sides or using open gestures to appear more welcoming and engaged.
So, to recap, the most common body language mistakes English learners make are avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, overusing gestures, poor posture, smiling inappropriately, standing at the wrong distance, mismatched facial expressions, and crossing arms.
And the best part? All of these can be improved with practice and awareness. Now let's move on to something more positive: how to use body language effectively to improve your English communication.
All right, now let's get into the practical stuff. How to use body language to improve your English communication. Julia, why is body language such a powerful tool for English learners?
Well, Jason, body language helps reinforce your message and makes your communication more engaging. Even if your vocabulary or grammar isn't perfect, strong body language can help you express your ideas clearly and confidently. It's like having a secret weapon to fill in the gaps in your language skills.
Absolutely. Let's break it down into some key strategies. First, let's talk about eye contact. We've already mentioned how important it is, but how can learners practice it?
A simple way to practice is by looking at yourself in the mirror while speaking. Imagine you're having a conversation with someone, and try to maintain steady eye contact with your reflection. Another great method is practicing with a friend or even recording yourself speaking and checking how often you look directly at the camera.
That's great advice. Now, let's move on to gestures. Using your hands can make your speech more dynamic and help emphasize key points. But how can learners use gestures effectively without overdoing it?
Start small. Use open, natural hand movements that match the tone of what you're saying. For example, if you're explaining something big, you can spread your arms wide. If you're listing points, use your fingers to count. Just make sure your gestures feel purposeful, not random.
Another strategy is focusing on your posture. Standing or sitting up straight not only makes you look confident, but also helps your voice project better. Here's a quick tip. Imagine there's a string pulling you up from the top of your head.
I love that visualization, Jason. Good posture also shows that you're engaged in the conversation. If you're slouching or leaning too much, it can signal that you're bored or unsure.
Now, let's talk about facial expressions. Julia, how can learners ensure their face reflects what they're saying?
It's all about being aware of your emotions and letting them show naturally. For example, if you're happy, smile. If you're surprised, raise your eyebrows. You can practice by recording yourself reading a script or telling a story and checking if your expressions match your words.
That's a great tip. Another key element is mirroring. This means subtly copying the other person's body language to build rapport. How can learners use this technique?
Mirroring is simple. If the person you're speaking with leans slightly forward, you can do the same. If they use open hand gestures, you can mirror that too. Just be subtle so it feels natural, not forced.
Let's not forget about smiling. A genuine smile can instantly make you more approachable and create a positive connection. Julia, how can learners practice smiling naturally during conversations?
Try smiling when you say hello or introduce yourself. You can also practice smiling while speaking in front of a mirror. It might feel awkward at first, but over time it'll become a natural part of your communication.
Another important point is movement. Standing still can make you seem stiff, while moving too much can be distracting. What's a good balance, Julia?
Think of movement as a way to support your words. For example, take a small step forward when you're making an important point, or lean slightly back to show you're considering something. Keep your movements controlled and intentional.
Great! And let's touch on personal space. Maintaining the right distance can make your conversation more comfortable. What's a good rule of thumb for English learners?
Generally, an arm's length is a good starting point, but it depends on the situation and the person. If you're unsure, observe how others position themselves in similar settings and adjust accordingly.
Lastly, let's talk about using body language for storytelling. This is especially helpful in group settings or presentations. Julia, how can learners make their stories more engaging with body language?
Use your gestures to paint a picture. For example, if you're talking about a big idea, spread your arms wide. If you're describing something small, pinch your fingers together. Changing your tone and adding expressions can also bring your story to life.
So, to recap, you can use eye contact, gestures, posture, facial expressions, mirroring, smiling, purposeful movement, and storytelling techniques to enhance your communication. Practice these daily, and you'll see a big improvement.
Absolutely. Body language is such a powerful tool, and when you combine it with your growing English skills, you'll become a confident and effective communicator.
All right, let's wrap things up with some tips on how to practice body language daily. Stick with us. Now that we've covered how to use body language effectively, let's talk about practical ways to improve it. Julia, do you have any go-to exercises that learners can try to enhance their body language skills?
Absolutely, Jason. Let's start with one of my favorites, the mirror exercise. Stand in front of a mirror and practice speaking aloud for a few minutes. Pay attention to your facial expressions, gestures, and posture. This helps you see how others perceive you and makes you more aware of your body language.
That's a great one, Julia. Another powerful exercise is video recording. Set up your phone or camera and record yourself having a conversation or giving a short speech in English. Watch the video to analyze your body language. Are your gestures natural? Is your posture confident? Are you smiling enough?
I love that idea, Jason. Watching yourself on video can be eye-opening. Here's another exercise. Practice purposeful gestures. Pick a few simple gestures like pointing when making a strong point or using open hands to emphasize an idea. Practice these while speaking so they feel natural when you use them in real conversations.
That's such a practical tip. Another useful exercise is role-playing. Find a friend or language partner and role-play common situations, like introducing yourself or asking for directions. Focus on maintaining eye contact, smiling, and using appropriate gestures during the interaction.
Yes, role-playing is fantastic for building confidence. Here's one more. Posture drills. Stand with your back against a wall for a minute to feel what good posture is like. Then try to maintain that posture while speaking. This helps you project confidence and clarity.
That's a great one, Julia. And let's not forget about practicing eye contact. You can practice this even when you're not speaking. For example, when you're watching TV or videos, try to mimic the eye contact of the speakers. Or, when you're in a conversation, focus on looking into the other person's eyes for a few seconds at a time.
Definitely. Eye contact takes practice, but it makes such a difference. Here's a fun one. Body language charades. Practice expressing emotions or ideas using only your gestures and expressions. For example, try showing excited, confused, or curious without speaking. This helps you become more expressive and creative with your body language.
That sounds like a lot of fun, Julia. And for our listeners who want to refine their movement, I'd suggest walking exercises. Walk around a room while imagining you're presenting to an audience. Practice controlled, purposeful movements, like stepping forward when making a point or gesturing smoothly.
Such a great idea. One last exercise I'd recommend is feedback practice. Ask a friend, teacher, or family member to watch you speak and give feedback on your body language. Sometimes others notice things that we might not realize ourselves.
That's an excellent suggestion, Julia. Feedback helps you fine-tune your body language and become more confident. So, to summarize, you can enhance your body language skills with exercises like using a mirror, video recording, purposeful gestures, role-playing, posture drills, practicing eye contact, charades, walking exercises, and seeking feedback.
Exactly. The key is consistency. Just like learning English, improving your body language takes practice and time, but the results are so worth it.
Absolutely. With these exercises, you'll not only become a better communicator but also feel more confident in your English conversations.
All right, Jason, let's wrap things up with some final tips for combining body language and English skills.
Julia, we've talked a lot about how to use body language effectively, but let's take a step back. Why does body language matter so much when it comes to speaking English confidently?
That's a great question, Jason. Body language is like the unspoken part of communication. Research shows that over half of our communication is nonverbal, which means things like gestures, posture, and facial expressions are just as important as the words we say.
Exactly. When you combine strong body language with your spoken English, you appear more confident and engaging. And confidence plays a huge role in how others perceive your communication skills.
Right, Jason. Plus, when you use confident body language, you actually start to feel more confident yourself. For example, standing tall with open gestures can trick your brain into feeling less nervous, even if you're a little anxious about speaking English.
I love that point, Julia. Body language can also make up for any gaps in your language skills. If you're struggling to find the right word or phrase, your gestures and expressions can help convey your message.
Exactly, Jason. Let's not forget about the role body language plays in building connections. When you smile, maintain eye contact, or use open gestures, you create a sense of trust and approachability. This is especially important in conversations where English might not be your first language.
Great point. It's not just about looking confident, it's about making the person you're speaking with feel comfortable too. And when both people are at ease, the conversation flows much more naturally.
That's so true, Jason. Body language also helps you stand out in group settings. Imagine giving a presentation or answering a question in class. If your body language shows confidence, even if your English isn't perfect, people are more likely to focus on your message.
Absolutely, Julia. To sum it up, body language matters because it reinforces your words, boosts your confidence, builds trust, and helps you connect with others. It's an essential tool for any English learner who wants to communicate effectively.
Well said, Jason. When you align your body language with your spoken English, you're sending a clear, confident, and powerful message. And that's something every English learner should aim for.
Couldn't agree more, Julia. All right, up next, let's share some tips for putting everything we've discussed into practice. Stay tuned. Now, before we wrap up today's podcast, let's take a few questions from our listeners. Julia, I've got the first one here. It's from Maria in Brazil. She asks, I get very nervous when speaking English in front of others, and I feel my body language becomes awkward. What can I do to fix this?
Great question, Maria. First, know that feeling nervous is completely normal. One tip is to start small. Practice speaking English in front of a mirror or with a trusted friend. Pay attention to your posture and gestures. Also, try taking a few deep breaths before you speak. It helps relax your body and mind. The more you practice, the more natural your body language will become.
That's great advice, Julia. I have another question here from Ahmed in Egypt. He says, I find it hard to maintain eye contact when speaking in English. What should I do?
Ahmed, you're not alone. Many people struggle with this. Start by practicing eye contact in low-pressure situations, like with friends or family. A good trick is to look at the person's forehead or the space between their eyes if direct eye contact feels too intense. With practice, maintaining eye contact will become easier.
That's such a practical tip. Here's another question from Priya in India. She asks, what gestures should I avoid when speaking in English?
Great question, Priya. Avoid crossing your arms, which can make you look closed off. Also, try not to fidget or use repetitive movements like tapping your foot or playing with your hair, as they can be distracting. Finally, keep your gestures natural. Don't overdo it, or it might seem forced.
Good points, Julia. And remember, listeners, the key is to be aware of your body language, but not to stress over it. It's all about practice and making gradual improvements.
Exactly, Jason. And for those of you who sent in questions we didn't get to, we'll try to answer them in future episodes. Keep them coming.
Yes, we love hearing from you. All right, Julia, let's move on to the conclusion and wrap up today's podcast. All right, Julia, what a fantastic conversation we've had today about body language for English learners. Let's quickly recap what we covered.
Sure, Jason. We started by discussing what body language is and why it's so important for confident communication in English. Then we explored common body language mistakes and how to avoid them.
That's right. We also shared practical tips for using body language to enhance English communication and went over specific exercises to help listeners improve their nonverbal skills.
And we answered some great questions from our listeners about how to tackle challenges like nervousness, maintaining eye contact, and avoiding distracting gestures.
Exactly. Now, for our listeners, here's your challenge. This week, try one of the exercises we discussed, maybe the mirror exercise or practicing eye contact, and see how it affects your confidence when speaking English.
Yes. And remember, improving your body language takes practice, just like learning English. But with consistent effort, you'll see results.
If you found today's podcast helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing your favorite tip or any questions you have about body language or learning English.
And if you want more tips and lessons, be sure to check out our other podcasts in the playlist. We're here to help you on your English learning journey.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, your body speaks as loudly as your words.
See you next time.
Hello and welcome to the Personal Growth Talks podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Julia. How are you doing today, Julia?
Hi, Jason. I'm doing great and super excited for today's episode. This is going to be such a valuable conversation for anyone looking to grow and transform their mindset.
Absolutely. Today, we're diving into a topic that can truly change your life. Books that have the power to transform the way you think, live, and approach challenges. If you've ever felt stuck, uninspired, or unsure of how to move forward, the right book can be like a guide, showing you a new perspective and inspiring you to take action.
Exactly, Jason. Books are more than just words on a page. They're like conversations with some of the greatest minds in the world. And the best part? They can teach us lessons that stay with us for a lifetime.
So, whether you're a beginner reader or someone who already loves diving into self-help and growth books, stick around. We're going to share some of our favorite mindset-changing books, practical tips on how to make the most of them, and a few surprises along the way. Ready, Julia?
Let's do it, Jason. I can't wait to get started.
All right, before we dive into specific books, let's talk about why reading is such a powerful tool for mindset growth. Julia, what do you think makes reading so impactful when it comes to personal development?
You know, Jason, I think it's because reading gives you access to ideas, strategies, and perspectives you might never encounter in your everyday life. It's like having a mentor or coach at your fingertips. And the best part? Books don't just give you information, they give you a way to reflect and grow at your own pace.
That's so true. And when you read, it's not just about absorbing information. It's about challenging your current beliefs and opening your mind to new possibilities. And here's the thing. Changing your mindset isn't an overnight process. It takes consistent effort, and books are a great way to keep that momentum going.
Exactly. For me, one of the biggest benefits of reading is that it gives you a sense of control over your growth. You're actively choosing to learn and evolve. I remember when I first read a book on mindfulness, it completely changed how I approached stress in my life. That one book set me on a whole new path.
That's such a great example, Julia. And I think for a lot of people, reading can also serve as a form of self-care. When you sit down with a book, you're creating time for yourself to grow, reflect, and dream bigger. It's like hitting the reset button for your mind.
Exactly. For me, one of the biggest benefits of reading is that it gives you a sense of control over your growth. You're actively choosing to learn and evolve. I remember when I first read a book on mindfulness, it completely changed how I approached stress in my life. That one book set me on a whole new path.
Well said, Julia. So for everyone listening, if you're looking to break free from limiting beliefs, discover new strategies for success, or even just find a fresh perspective on life, reading is a fantastic place to start. And trust me, the books we're about to discuss are some of the best to get you started.
That's right. Stick with us because these books might just be the inspiration you've been looking for.
All right, let's get into the heart of the episode, the books. Julia and I have picked a few incredible books that we believe can truly change your mindset. Let's start with our first pick, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Julia, what do you love about this one?
Atomic Habits. I think it's a game changer because it focuses on the small changes we often overlook. James Clear emphasizes that it's not about huge transformations overnight. It's about building tiny habits consistently that lead to significant results over time. What about you, Jason? What stands out to you?
For me, it's the idea of identity-based habits. Instead of just saying, I want to learn English, you start saying, I am someone who practices English every day. That mindset shift changes how you approach your goals. And I love how practical the book is. It's filled with actionable steps anyone can follow.
Absolutely, and I think for anyone listening, if you've struggled with staying consistent in your personal growth journey, this book can help you build habits that stick. Okay, Jason, what's the next book on our list?
The next one is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book is all about mindfulness and living in the present moment. Julia, I know you've mentioned how much this book has influenced you. Can you share more?
Of course, this book taught me to stop overthinking the past and worrying about the future. Eckhart Tolle explains that the present moment is the only place where life truly happens. I used to get so caught up in my thoughts, but this book helped me practice mindfulness and focus on what I can control now.
That's such a powerful lesson. And I think for anyone feeling overwhelmed, the power of now provides tools to quiet your mind and find peace in the chaos. What's one practical takeaway you got from it, Julia?
For me, it's the concept of observing your thoughts without judgment. When you realize you're not your thoughts, it becomes easier to let go of negativity. It's like a mental reset.
That's a great way to put it. Now let's move on to our third book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol S. Dweck. This is a classic when it comes to understanding how our beliefs shape our potential. Julia, what's your favorite part of this book?
I love how Dweck breaks down the idea of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. She explains that people with a growth mindset believe they can improve through effort and learning, while those with a fixed mindset think their abilities are set in stone. It's such a simple concept, but it's life-changing.
Exactly. And I think what makes this book so relatable is the examples Dweck shares. Whether it's in education, sports, or business, she shows how adopting a growth mindset can lead to incredible results. Julia, how do you think this applies to personal growth?
Well, it's all about seeing challenges as opportunities to learn rather than obstacles. For example, if you're learning a new skill and you fail, a growth mindset helps you see that failure as part of the process, not the end of the journey.
Perfectly said. And for our listeners, if you ever feel stuck or think you can't improve in a certain area, Mindset is a must-read. It'll change how you view yourself and your potential.
Absolutely. These 3 books, Atomic Habits, The Power of Now, and Mindset, are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to books that can transform your thinking. Jason, should we share some tips on how to put these lessons into action?
Great idea, Julia. Let's help our listeners take what they learn from these books and apply it in their lives. Now that we've talked about these incredible books, let's dive into how you can take the lessons from them and actually apply them to your life. Julia, what's your top tip for turning book knowledge into real-life action?
My first tip is simple. Start small and focus on one idea at a time. Sometimes we read a book and feel inspired to change everything at once, but that's overwhelming. For example, from Atomic Habits, you could start by building just one small habit, like reading 5 pages a day. That one habit alone can create a ripple effect.
That's such a great point. My tip is to take notes while you read. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just jot down ideas or quotes that resonate with you. After you finish the book, review your notes and choose 2 or 3 takeaways to focus on. For instance, from The Power of Now, you might pick mindfulness exercises like focusing on your breathing or doing a daily gratitude practice.
Exactly, Jason. Another tip is to discuss the book with someone else. Whether it's a friend, a book club, or even an online community, talking about the lessons helps you process them better. Plus, you might gain new insights from other perspectives. For example, if you're exploring the growth mindset from Carol Dweck's book, ask others how they approach challenges in their lives.
That's such a valuable strategy. And here's another one. Revisit the books over time. The first time you read a book, you might not be ready to fully absorb every lesson. But when you come back to it later, you'll often find new insights that resonate with where you are in life. I've done this with Atomic Habits, and each time I reread it, I learn something new.
Same here, Jason. And let's not forget the importance of taking action immediately. If you finish a book and don't do anything with the knowledge, it's easy to forget. So, after reading, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today to apply this? It could be as simple as starting a journal, trying a new habit, or even practicing a mindset shift.
That's such practical advice, Julia. And for our listeners, remember, the goal isn't to read as many books as possible. It's to make each book you read count. Start small, take notes, discuss, revisit, and most importantly, take action. That's how you turn knowledge into growth.
Exactly. Books are powerful, but their real value comes from how you use them in your daily life. So, pick a lesson, start applying it, and watch how it transforms your mindset.
Couldn't agree more. Coming up next, we'll share how you can engage with us and share your own favorite books that have changed your mindset. Stay tuned. All right, now we want to hear from you, our amazing listeners. Julia, let's invite them to share their experiences and thoughts.
Absolutely. Have you read any of the books we discussed today? Or do you have your own recommendations for books that changed your mindset? We'd love to know what's made an impact on your personal growth journey.
Yes, share your favorite books and the lessons you've learned in the comments or on our social media channels. You never know. Your suggestion might inspire someone else to pick up a life-changing book.
And if you're just starting out and wondering where to begin, let us know what areas of growth you're focused on. Whether it's building habits, overcoming challenges, or developing a growth mindset, we can guide you toward the right resources.
Also, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners like you who are passionate about personal growth.
And if you found today's episode helpful, share it with a friend. Let's build a community of lifelong learners and growth enthusiasts together.
Exactly. Thanks so much for being part of this journey with us. Coming up next day, we'll dive into another exciting topic to help you grow and thrive. See you then.
See you next time, and happy reading.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. We've covered some amazing books: Atomic Habits by James Clear, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and Mindset by Carol S. Dweck that can truly change the way you think and approach life.
We also shared practical tips to help you incorporate the lessons from these books into your daily life. Remember, personal growth isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every small step you take matters.
Exactly, and as we always say, the journey to a better mindset starts with a single action. So pick one takeaway from today's episode and put it into practice. You'll be amazed at how far it can take you.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We hope this episode inspires you to pick up one of these books and take the first step toward transforming your mindset.
Don't forget to follow our podcast for more episodes on personal growth and self-improvement. And if you enjoyed this discussion, share it with someone who might benefit from it too.
Until next time, stay curious, keep growing, and remember, you have the power to shape your mindset and your life.
Take care, everyone, and see you in the next episode.